In one of my previous videos, I mentioned that I banned a spell, and I was pretty surprised to see that some people got upset at me banning a spell at my table. I found that incredibly weird, because me banning it doesn't mean you have to ban it, but they did. And it got me thinking, when should you ban something? When should you buff or nerf something? What is the criteria to justify it? And I got to thinking about it, and the answer seemed pretty straightforward. It is, if the game is going to be more fun, then do it. So if banning something makes the game more fun, do it. If nerfing something makes the game more fun, if buffing something, whatever, do it. And keep track of it. I created a Google document called Table Changes. In this document, I list all of the changes I would like at my table, including a ban list, including a buff list, a nerf list, just general changes. I think it goes a long way for me to design the game how I want it to be. If I don't agree with something, I can sit there and bitch about it on the internet, or I can just change it for my game and find players who agree with those changes made. And actually, that's an interesting point that comes up. If I say I'm banning conjure animals, and somebody comes to me and says, well, I understand that you are banning conjure animals because it's more fun for you, but I feel like conjure animals is an important part of my fun. Well, then a discussion needs to be had, right? Now we need to find a middle ground where we begin communicating, and I can say, here are my issues with conjure animals, and on their end, they're saying, this is what I want out of conjure animals. And we try and find a middle ground where they can still get what they want without having any of the mechanical issues that drives me away from conjure animals. And let's say that those communications break down and it's just not working out. We can't find common ground. Well, maybe we're not the right table for each other because we have different definitions of fun. And it's really important to have these conversations in D&D, and having this document ready is a way for us to have those conversations early as opposed to later. Something important about having this document is that it's ever changing. Every campaign you run, you learn. And so I have spells that I suspect I will ban, but I've never had table usage with them. No one's ever used them at my table, and until someone does and I can get firsthand experience, I'm not going to ban it. I want to allow people to try these things and me to experience them as a DM before I hit them with the ban hammer. But the spells that I have been through and I know I don't like, I have hit with either the ban hammer or the nerf hammer. And there's other changes I'm making as well, which are broad changes. For example, I just completely removed the Battlemaster subclass from Fighter, and I took all of its cool maneuver features and I gave them to every single marshal in the game. So every single marshal in the game at 3rd level gets superiority dice and the maneuvers. At 10th level, the damage increases, and at 15th level, if they don't have one at the beginning of combat, they get one. So I basically took the Battlemaster subclass, deleted it, and gave it to every single marshal. Why? Because marshals needed a buff. And on top of that, it increases their flavor. There's so many cool builds you can do with that. So I really liked that change, and it's a personal change that I've decided to make moving forward. Whenever I do my next campaign, I'm going to hand out the stock, they'll know, and people can build around it. Another change I made is I'm removing the Hex Blade from the game. The reason why is that I feel like it's kind of silly that an optimal paladin is often taking a 1-level dip in Warlock. I didn't want that. I don't want a super powerful 1-level dip, and I don't want a paladin to automatically be optimized elsewhere. The 1-level dip into Hexblade was just too optimal. So what I did is I took the medium armor, martial weapon proficiency, and shield proficiency, and I put it as part of Pact of the Blade. So when you take Pact of the Blade, you now get all of those. And then I gave it an invocation that comes with Pact of the Blade, where you can use your charisma attack modifier, as well as a second invocation that anyone can take, that is the Hexblade's Curse. Now what this does is it makes it, you can still go get the charisma based attacks, but it's a bigger investment at 3 levels, similar to the Battlesmith Artificer, where you actually have to invest pretty heavily in order to get that very powerful feature. But what I really like about this is it actually opens up all the other Warlock subclasses to do melee-based martial builds. So now you can do a Pact of the Fiend melee build, and I love that. Or you can do a Jin melee build, or a Fathomless. It just opened up a whole bunch of new possibilities for Warlocks, and I'm really excited to see my players explore those melee-based possibilities. Out of everything in the game so far, I've only banned 3 things. I banned Conjure Animals, Conjure Woodland Beings, and Conjure Minor Elementals. And that's just because I don't like conjure spells that summon a whole bunch of little guys. I think it slows down the game, and if it's not taking away the fun for me, which it probably is, it's probably taking away fun for another player. I just don't see those spells being cast and not someone having less fun. On top of that, you can get the summoning flavor from other spells. The summoning spells give you the summon flavor just fine, and they're awesome. I love those spells. My nerf list so far is a little bit bigger. Nerfing Hypnotic Pattern. I think it's too powerful of a fight-winning spell. It's a 3rd level fight-winning spell that outshines 4th and 5th level fight-winning spells. So it needed to be toned down. I just give everybody the ability to save at the end of their turn. I made Suggestion and Mass Suggestion be disadvantage in combat. I wanted to sway it more towards utility than I did as just this crazy fight-winning spell. And I think it allows spells like Hold Person and Maximilian's Earthen Grasp to shine brighter. With Phantasmal Force, I changed it so you couldn't put the illusion within the target space. The reason for that is I didn't like how Phantasmal Force, as written, can blind, restrain, grapple. You can do so many extra things to it, and it's really difficult to shake off. It's really easy to land because it's an intelligence-based saving throw. As written, it is just way too powerful. Way too powerful. And by not allowing it to be in their space, it actually functions the way it was intended to, I think. And with Polymorph, I actually, instead of doing the CR of the target is the target's level, I did the target's level halved, rounded up, just to lower the combat power of Polymorph while maintaining its incredible utility. And its combat power is still good, just not crazy, insane good. Still is an emergency button, just not that powerful of an emergency button. And those are all the changes I've made so far. And those are all subject to change. Nothing is sacred. Not this list, not the game. Everything can change for the sake of more fun. So this list will change. Things will be added to it, things will be adapted. I'm going to be playtesting these as I bring in new players. I'm actually really excited about this. I gotta be honest, like, part of playing D&D for me has been finding what I like and finding what I don't like. Before, I just kind of was resigned to what I didn't like, but I'm kind of growing into a new mindset of just molding it and changing it. And I think each table should genuinely do that. Every DM should take advantage of your ability to change the rules to make the game you want to play. Personally, I don't want to play a game where you can summon 32 raptors and roll 150 dice. I don't want to play that game. That sounds like hell to me. I want to play the game where you summon one single badass celestial that can heal and shoot arrows and do all sorts of cool shit. That's the game I want to play. So my question to you guys is, what changes would you make on your master doc, on your changes doc? What would you buff, nerf, ban? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear it, because if you guys have some good ideas, you know what's going on my doc. But other than that, I simply hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.